Hello, everyone, and welcome. Hello, hello. This is Embracing Your Essence on Lilydale Radio. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. We are live coming to you from Lilydale Assembly in Lilydale, New York, which is in the western part of New York. If you don't know where it is, you probably do if you're watching, so I won't go into details on location. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. As you're coming in, just say hello so I know you're here. I always love to make sure, number one, my technology is working, and number two, that people are actually out there watching. So tonight we are going to be talking about finding peace. But before we get to that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and Lilydale Assembly. I am a registered medium here at Lilydale Assembly, and Lilydale is all about the religion of spiritualism, which is connecting with our loved ones on the other side, as well as practicing healing, working with healing energy, and living true to yourself, as your soul spiritual being. And at here, Lilydale Assembly, so many people come here from all over the world. I don't think people are going to come from all over the world this year with COVID. But anyway, you can come if you're in the United States. So we are in New York State, and right now it looks like we are close to 70% vaccinated. So pretty soon, most of our restrictions and lockdown things and all that stuff will be lifted. So you can come and visit. So season does start in 2 weeks, June 25th, I believe it is. And so if you haven't checked it out yet to see what's happening, go to lilydaleassembly.org and you can see all of the workshops, everything that's happening this summer. You can also go to Lilydale Assembly Incorporated on Facebook and you'll be able to see all the events that they're adding day after day, everything that's going to be happening this summer. And like I said, I am a registered medium at Lilydale, and I'm also an intuitive spiritual life coach. I help people basically handle their problems, and I like to really help them look at things from a spiritual perspective. That gives them an added power as they're trying to handle their things. So today we are going to be talking about finding peace. And I do want to mention before I get to that, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I've got Ray and Bristol, Denise and Julie and Diane. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, yes, for one more thing, you can connect with me on my Facebook page, Colleen Van der Zijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach, and I would love for you to follow me there. And if you are not sure, just check and see if you're following me. My book, oh my goodness, it's almost done, really, for real, and it will be coming out in the fall. So I'm looking to, broaden my base a little bit so publishers like me better. And my website is colleenvanderzijden.com. So thank you so much. Taking a class in Lilydale with herbs in July. Yes, so many things happening this summer at Lilydale. It's going to be very exciting. Hello, Baba Yaga. Nice to see you. So as I said, we are going to be talking about finding peace. I have talked to quite a few people lately, and I've experienced myself so many times where it just seems like, we're stuck in our heads and we are not finding that peace. And it seems harder lately. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's been a little bit harder lately to find that peace. So we are going to talk about some ideas to help you reclaim the peace. And we're also going to a little bit further into the show, we're going to do a special meditation to help you connect with the peace and wisdom of the divine energy. And this meditation I did last week, and I've been playing with it ever since, and it is so much fun, and it really rapidly gets me in that space of peace that I want to be in. So thank you, everybody. Hi, Joanna. Nice to see you. So here we go. Finding peace. The other day, I was sitting at my desk, and I was totally overwhelmed, absolutely totally overwhelmed. I'm dealing with trying to get that book done, finishing the edits so that the editor can go through the final edit starting very soon. So I was working on that. Then I'm also working on trying to get my house ready because Lilydale season is starting in 2 weeks. And so I need to have things ready so that I don't have to deal with some of the household things, the gardens and all that stuff. Because once Lilydale starts, the mediums are pretty busy. So I was getting a little bit stressed out, and my to-do list was extensive. I kept going on and on about, I don't know if I can get the time and all this stuff. And as I was complaining to myself, I thought, I really do need to reconnect with peace. And as I started to think about this even more, I started to wonder, what exactly is peace? What is it? And it really, what it is releasing that inner turbulence that we have going on in there. It's a feeling of peace. So peace is a feeling where we move into this place of letting go of anything that's blocking us from being there. It's where we feel calm and safe and secure. And as I was wanting to reclaim my peace, my mind was going crazy in obsessive thinking. And what's happening that's blocking our peace is that we are getting stuck in this obsessive thinking. We're stuck on our heads. We're worried about our physical reality, right? We're trapped in these mental constructs, believing that the physical life is most important. We've been brought up that way. We've been trained to believe this. So we worry about life and our problems naturally, right? So we can also get trapped in our ego, that person who is not who we truly are. So we're forgetting who we really are. The ego is the part of us that's involved and really focused on those external things. And with this, when we forget who we truly are, we're kind of blocking some of our peace. And as we're living through life, we might start thinking about how we've been wronged and how unfair life is. All of this takes our mind to fear-based thoughts. We might be fear-based on what could happen, what might happen. We might move into guilt, how we should have done something differently. Our minds might go in such a way that it keeps ourselves stuck in pain. We might have those traumatic situations and replay our losses of people, jobs, animals, or whatever our losses are, keeping ourselves immobilized in this pain. Now, all of these things are aspects of the physical reality. We cannot deny that they are there. We understand this is a part of how our life can be. You know, it's not, I don't want people to go, oh, I shouldn't be like that. Sometimes you have to move into that so you can get out of it. So we have to recognize this is part of our physical reality. But if we are focused on this to the exclusion of everything, or it's sending us into negative fear-based thoughts, fear-based emotions, that's when our peace is going to elude us. We just can't find it. We might try all sorts of things, but we just can't find it. It is really interesting how this works. So, is it possible? I'm taking you through my own thought processes here that I did the other day, basically. Is it possible that we can find peace in this world that, really some parts of it are kind of crazy, like pretty out there? Is it possible we can find the peace in that? How can we find that peace when we're feeling alone or we're feeling lost? I was talking to a friend the other day who was really struggling and just not feeling like herself, feeling like there wasn't any hope. And she was not in peace because she was really struggling with all of these emotions and just not feeling like there were people or a support system around her that could help lift her up. And then a final question on this: how can we find peace when we are stuck in grief? And that's a huge one, isn't it? Because if we're stuck in grief and we're really experiencing it, we might really have a problem moving into the sense of peace. We will talk about that a little bit tonight. Before I get too far into the rest of my messages here, I want you to remember that if you are in grief, for whatever reason, loss of a person, loss of a job, whatever grief you might be in, loss of your illusion of how life is, whatever grief it might be, that you're going to have to go through the emotional responses. You're going to have to process that, okay? But you can still find some moments of peace, and we will talk about this. So peace doesn't have to come someday when all of our external pain or challenges have diminished or totally disappeared. We can have it now, even with our challenges. We have to unlearn how we think life works. We've got to let go of believing whatever's happening outside of us has the right to take our peace away from us. We have to unlearn who we believe we are and look beyond those physical impressions. We get so caught up in our physical lives because we are living a physical life. So of course we're going to get caught up in it. And that's okay. But if we don't want to stay in the pain, the emotion, the guilt, whatever turbulence is going on in our heads, we can choose to move forward from it. Okay, we have to look beyond ourselves, beyond the physical beingness of ourselves. We've got to look beyond it. So the other day when I was struggling and wanting to release my stress and overwhelm and feel that peace, I sat in meditation. Now, lots of times when we are struggling, we are We can't relax. We're too restless. It can be very difficult to meditate. And so many people say, well, if you're feeling this, then just go meditate. Like it's so simple. I've been meditating for years, and I can tell you there are times where I cannot get into that space. And sometimes it really helps to have a focus, something to focus on to take your mind out of your mind so that you can actually let go of whatever's happening, focus on something else. So as I was sitting in meditation, what I normally do is I start out with my breaths, just paying attention to my breath. Then I'll frequently go to my body. So if you're struggling with meditation, I recommend this process. It works for me. It may not work for you, but it works for me. I go to my body and I really just notice how my body's doing. I pay attention, where does it feel a little tense? Where is it relaxed? And literally just go all through my body and pay attention. What that's doing is it's getting me back in the present and out of my head. All I'm doing, it's a strategy basically to let go of the crap in my head. So as I got into that meditation, I started to get messages about how to reclaim my peace. And I'm going to share those with you. Just 3 very strong ones, very helpful ones. And the meditation I'm going to do later is directly what came out of this meditation. And I think you'll really enjoy it. So the first message I received was that it was time to claim my peace. And I had a notepad next to me and I wrote down, claim my peace. And as I sat there, I thought, what does that mean, to claim my peace? And then I realized it was to understand that I deserve and I can have it whenever I want. That it is here. When we are living a spiritual life or we're on a spiritual path, people always say everything you want is here already. It's already right here. Again, when we get caught up in our physical stuff, we forget that, right? We just do. So I can have it anytime I want. And as I thought about this further, because it's rightfully ours and we deserve it and we can have it, I started to think about how sometimes we don't want to claim our peace. I'll hear people sometimes say how mad they are at somebody. And maybe that person was very critical or judgmental, or they betrayed them, or they did whatever, they did them wrong in some way. And these people feel like they don't want to be in peace, because being in peace doesn't mean they can hold on to that anger so much, okay? Being at peace means, that means I have to, set this aside in some way. And we will talk about that, how to do that. So we want to be mad. Sometimes people want to be mad at people and they don't want the peace. If you ask them, they will not know that that's what they're doing. They will not understand that. But you're a little bit more aware, right? You understand about this. So you understand you have the power to change whatever it is that's bothering you, to change your perception, change your action, change your behavior. You have the power to claim that peace. And please do as much as you want. Some people also feel that they should stay stuck in pain and guilt because they did something wrong. Have you ever met anybody like this? That they did something wrong and subconsciously in their mind, they made this big mistake or created this problem or whatever it is, so they have to pay for it by suffering. Okay, so they don't want to claim their peace. They say they do again, but they don't recognize that they're stuck believing that they must suffer. So many of us were brought up in some traditional religions where the part of the message has come across that we must suffer for our sins, if you will. And that is not the case in the understanding that I have. With the God I understand, that is not the case. Okay, I'm looking, Baba Yaga saying, a big one I learned was to stop arguing for my limitations and restrictions. It's just the ego wanting to be right. Right? We want to be right sometimes. So we want to justify our anger. We want to justify why we can't, why we shouldn't, or whatever it is. And that is just keeping us stuck in limitations, as she says. We're stuck in limitations. We're not experiencing the life we could have, and it's blocking us from our joy. If you catch yourself, if you look at some of your situations, The more we talk tonight, you'll understand more and more about what I'm saying. But if you look at some of your situations and realize you're holding on to pain, you're holding on to resentment, you're holding on to judging somebody else, you're holding on to wanting to be righteous, that they did this to you, so they deserve whatever. What's happening is this is keeping you from your peace. It's being blocked. So consider some of these ideas, because all you have to do is change your mind. And we will talk about moving on from there. Okay, I'm looking to see what Danette says. We often work hard to achieve peace, and we need to push ourselves over that line to know we have found it. We have to get out of our own way. Yes, yes. I don't know how many times I say that to myself. Get out of your way, Colleen. Just get out of your way. If we got out of our way, our lives would just be so much better, wouldn't they? I actually did a little bit of show on that a few weeks ago. I did a Get Out of Your Way show. Claiming peace is like choosing happiness, no matter how much you are holding on to. Very good, Candace. Yes, we have to choose it. Now, for those of you who have lost loved ones, okay, I never, ever, ever want to diminish the grief that people experience, okay? You know me well, most of you, so you understand where I'm coming from. The struggle to accept the trauma of the new physical reality, that person is not physically here anymore, can be exceedingly difficult. Now, I have found in my work as a medium, every now and then I'll come across a person who feels that if they are happy or at peace, that somehow diminishes their grief, or it diminishes the memory of their loved one. And they may subconsciously feel that the only way to honor their loved one is to stay in sadness and pain. I don't know where this belief comes from. I know that I have met people who are like this. Invariably in a reading, I'll have a spirit come in and talk about something about the person in front of me, saying, you know, they understand you're very sad, you're very upset, but they really want you to be happier and they want you to move on. And it's hard for us left here in our physical bodies to decide we want to be happy, and we can be happy knowing we've lost someone. But I have never, ever had a spirit tell me, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, I'm sure, that they want you to stay sad. So that may help those of you or your friends who feel like they have to stay sad or have to stay away from peace or happiness because it diminishes their grief or their love for somebody else. And that may help you recognize that your spirits don't want you like that, you know, and we're not diminishing the process of grief and moving through the emotions either, okay? So no matter what is happening in your life, you can claim your peace, no matter what it is. So we're going to talk about some ideas further, the ones that I got from my meditation the other day, and then we'll do that beautiful meditation that I think you'll really enjoy. So Ashley is saying, I'm dealing with a difficult person currently and trying to keep my peace. Yes, and it can be hard, can't it? When we have someone in our lives who is a challenge or judgmental or critical, to not get sucked into their negativity, it's really hard to stay out of it sometimes and choose the peace instead. But you can do it. You can definitely do it. So if you want to choose peace, believe it can be yours. You have to believe it. And sometimes that is the first step. And maybe that's the only step somebody can do. We have to believe it is ours and we deserve it and we can have it. So we have to claim it. And that was the first message I got in my meditation the other day. The next message I received as I was connecting, and I was connecting with the divine guidance, of course, the next message I received was about forgiveness. And I know forgiveness can be a weighted topic for some reason. We all have kind of our own definition of what forgiveness is. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day because he uses the word forgiveness a lot. And I said to him, I don't use it as much as you do. What is the difference? And so we were talking about what it means. And I was also recently editing the section in my book where I talk about forgiveness. And in that section is a process on forgiveness, which I will share with you in just a few minutes, that can help you move through in letting go of some things. So my perception of forgiveness is letting go of the emotional attachment that causes pain, regret, anger, etc. We are breaking the energetic bonds, if you will, that cause us suffering. Okay, we're going to break the energetic bonds that cause us suffering. And I feel like forgiveness is needed, in my perception so far, I could change it next week, tomorrow, I don't know, is that I always think of forgiveness as when I or someone else has done something wrong, okay? And what does that mean? What does wrong mean? It means something that's unwanted, not meeting our expectations, more importantly, violating our values and our ethics. We all know, although we might question that we all know it these days, we should all know, let me do that one. We should all know what's right and what's wrong. We should all know the importance of truth and not. Many of us, if not all of us, were brought up to learn all about this. Well, that's not true. You shouldn't say it. Okay, so if something is wrong, that's violating our values in some way. Yes, Greg, that forgiveness word. Yes. So with this, when we think about this, that something is wrong and we're thinking about forgiveness, what it is we are not in alignment with our true self. What we believe is true, what we know is right or just, what we believe. And that's where we'll run into some problems, right? When things are violated. Many times we need to forgive others, right? And remember, forgiveness is not approval, and it doesn't mean that there isn't justice or consequences for somebody's actions. Okay? We're just breaking that energetic bond. It means we accept what has happened and we choose to let go of the emotional turmoil. So I have this forgiveness process I use, and it can be used for yourself as well as for other people. When I do it, I usually do it directed at someone else to begin with because it's a little easier for me to get out of my head and to kind of move into that space instead. Frequently, as I'm doing that, then I can slide into, if I feel a need to forgive myself, I can slide into that as well. So what we do for this forgiveness process is we visualize the person in front of us we want to forgive. And what we might do, you'll notice, if you think about somebody who's irritating you or somebody who's testing your patience or blocking your peace because of their actions, whatever, I can tell you, forever that we have to accept them, that we can't change their behaviors, we can't change who they are. But this can help you move into acceptance if you can do this. So you visualize that person in front of you and then note your emotional reaction. So if I visualize somebody in front of me and for whatever reason, I look at them in my mind's eye and I get irritated immediately. I think, oh, what a jerk. I can't believe he did this to me or whatever. So you want to notice this. So you visualize the person, notice how you feel. Then I have a 4-statement process that we do. And the first one is, I forgive you for. And you can start with, I forgive you for hurting me. I forgive you for lying to me. I forgive you for testing my patience, whatever it can be. And you go on and on and on with I forgive you for statements until you feel like you've said enough with that. Next, you move on to I'm sorry, I. What you're doing with this is you're taking responsibility for your part in this. Okay? I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. I'm sorry I'm judging you. Whatever it might be. Okay? You don't want to say something like, I'm sorry you're such a jerk. Okay? That is not claiming your responsibility. Okay? I'm sorry you're a jerk. It doesn't work. I'm sorry it has to be. This will help you claim your part in it. It also helps you reclaim your power. So you realize you can shift everything that's happening now. The next thing you would say is, I let go of. I let go of the pain. I let go of the misery. I let go of my anger. I let go of whatever you want to let go of. I let go of you could even work, right? Then you move on to thank you for. Thank you for helping me realize I need to step in my power. Thank you for helping me strengthen my power. Thank you for helping me strengthen my patience. thank you for. The important part of doing gratitude is that you're recognizing the lessons within this experience. As you go through this process, you'll be processing your emotions, you'll be releasing things, you'll be reclaiming your power, you're back in gratitude, so you're looking for what you've learned and how you've grown. At the end of this, after you've done this, then what you want to do is send positive energy to the other person. Energetically, you're sending positive energy. Even if you think to yourself, oh, I'm not sure I really want to just yet, do it anyway and just be positive about it. It's very important to do. And as we do this process, and you can do it as many times as you like, different people, different situations, and everything, this will help lift the weight of your emotions. You can also do this, again, for yourself. You would visualize yourself in front of you. So you're kind of putting yourself right there, so you're detaching a little bit from yourself, which makes it easier to do as well. Okay. As you do this, when you finish, the next thing to do is to visualize that person again and note your emotional reaction. It should have decreased or maybe even disappeared. It works. I've used it many a time. I've taught it to many of my clients. It really works. I'm going to check the comments and I will go on to this. Let's see. Greg is saying, I have a dear friend who just forgave someone she had carried a grievance against for decades. She had every right to carry that anger to her grave, but in forgiving, she felt the sense of lightness and release, and I've never seen her so happy. That is the value of forgiveness. We release that anger, the frustrations, whatever it is, we release that, we break that bond, and so we can move into a new place with a lighter and happier energy. We all know that holding on to something drags us down, right? We all know this. That doesn't mean it's easy to forgive. But if you work at it and you make an attempt, a sincere attempt, it will make a difference. Diane is saying, so I suppose saying, I'm sorry, I can't forgive you for treating my daughter like your own personal bag is not moving on yet. Hold on. It shifted on me. Oh boy, this is going to take me the rest of my life to forgive. Well, you know, Diane, I don't want you to make I don't want this to sound like you're doing anything wrong, okay? You are not doing anything wrong. There are some things in life that are very challenging to forgive. Again, remember this. This doesn't mean you approve of the other person's actions, okay? It doesn't mean you don't set boundaries or consequences or anything like that. You're just releasing the energetic component that is keeping you in pain, okay? Maybe it will help to really remember we're not approving of somebody else's actions, okay? And it's not necessary that we actually say, I forgive you to the other person because we're working with the energetic part. It's not really necessary. Some thoughts to consider anyway, Diane. Really, forgiveness is kind of about you, isn't it? Trying to make you feel happier and you feel better. That's really what it's about. Greg is saying, Dr. Fred Luskin from the Stanford Forgiveness Project, says that forgiveness is a choice, but some readiness is necessary. Honestly, it's sometimes we have to learn to forgive ourselves first. You're leading right into my next statement, Greg. We must be psychic here. So we have to forgive ourselves first, that we can't forgive someone yet. Don't even get me started, Maura. Yes, forgiveness for my expectations. Okay, so going into the next part is, let's actually, and before I get to forgiving ourselves, let's go to forgiveness with grief as somebody who's passed. Even in grief, sometimes we may need to forgive the person who died. Okay, so I've met a lot of people who said, how could they leave me? You know, how could they leave me? How could they do this to me? I can't believe they left. He said he was going to be here forever, but now he's not. And so we have some anger towards the person on the other side, right? And then what do we do? What do we do next? I can't talk. Let's try that again. What do we do next? We move into guilt and we move into shame. Oh, I shouldn't have said that about him. Oh, I'm such a bad person saying that. I feel so guilty because I did this. You know, we've been taught not to speak ill of the dead, right? But don't worry. The spirits can handle it. they can handle it and they understand. So they understand if you have guilt or shame. They understand if you're mad at them for whatever reason. So with this guilt, we may need to work into forgiving ourselves, and I'm going to talk about that in 2 seconds right after I do this part. We may have to forgive ourselves. But also, sometimes when people have passed, we might have incomplete issues with them. That maybe there was a situation in the physical that you never got to resolve before they passed. I had a friend whose father abused him, and he said he really hoped that after his father passed that he would feel better. He didn't. He felt worse because of this incomplete situation. He never got to hear the apology from his father. He never got to hear how much his father loved him or was proud of him. He never got to speak his mind about how painful this whole situation was. So there's an incompleteness here. So we can still do this process with the spirit on the other side, so to speak, because their soul knows your soul and they will work with you. So even if you did not resolve something here in the physical, you can resolve it energetically by forgiving with the soul on the other side. It is possible. It does work. I do wonder with all of this, if forgiveness, we were talking, Greg mentioned about forgiving ourselves. I do really wonder if so much of it comes down to that, really. For our own failures and our own self-judgment, we might judge ourselves for not being good enough, of course, not being our true selves, or we might not love ourselves fully, and then we feel guilty about that. Those of us who are on a spiritual path, we try so hard to live a loving life, and then maybe one day we're not very loving to somebody, and so then we feel guilty and shame because we didn't do what we said we always do. There's so much there. And forgiving ourselves works very well in terms of releasing our own guilt and shame and just being willing to do that. I'm going to check the comments again. Yeah. Holding on to anger is so unhealthy, but it's so hard to let go of. It is. And anger is not necessarily a bad emotion by any means, because anger can motivate us to make a change. We might get to the point where we're tired of being angry and say, I'm going to do something else. Or anger might motivate us to take action and fix a wrong that needs to be done, whether we've done something or someone else. And remember, forgiveness, we aren't letting go of our requests for justice or consequences, okay? So if you want to practice self-forgiveness, you've worked on maybe forgiving somebody else, and then you are struggling with it, and maybe you feel guilty for that. Self-forgiveness, and you're not sure where to start, listen to your inner critic. Your inner critic will let you know. The inner critic always points out all of the areas where you're not good enough. You'll find it. Okay, so Diane, if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I should be able to give because that's what a spiritual person should do, then you forgive yourself for not being able to forgive. That may help, right? So recognize that you're doing the best you can. If you could do better, you would have done better. So you're doing the best you can. So forgive yourself for your failings. And remember that everything on your path is leading you to your soul, so that you're going to live more in alignment with your soul. Okay, I shall move on. I'm going to see. We could do this and visualize the self. Yes, Danette, you certainly can. It's kind of, if you want to do it, you visualize yourself out in front of you. And sometimes it does help too if you visualize yourself as a child. If you know that something you're trying to forgive originated from childhood. Because if you visualize yourself as a child, you're going to show more compassion. Sometimes that helps. So you can do that. And that gets you outside of your head a little bit if you kind of pretend you're in front of yourself. Okay? So when I was doing my meditation the other day, the next message I received about connecting with the peace was to remember to trust and allow myself to be guided by the divine energy. My intention for this year, and I was sharing this with my coaching group earlier this year, is guide me. And it's so simple. If I'm feeling stressed, I stop and breathe, and literally I will turn my head and go, guide me. And that's what I'll do. Now, when I was overwhelmed the other day, I had forgotten to do it. I was just so caught up in my head, I couldn't even get out. It's amazing. I actually could meditate. I was so stuck there and I'd forgotten my spiritual connection. So fortunately, when I stepped into that meditation, I got right back into it. And the reason the spiritual connection is so important is that that's where our peace can be found. Now, this doesn't mean that if you don't believe in a God, you don't believe in the divine energy, that you're not going to have peace, okay? We can also call that divine energy the universal energy. I think we're all in agreement that there is some kind of an energy that pervades the whole world and all of us, okay? It's the natural flow of life. You can call it whatever you want. Within that is where you're going to find your peace. Without fail, whenever I say guide me, I'm back in the present. It gets me out of my head immediately. I'm back in the present. I'm calm and I'm trusting in the perfection of my path. I'm at peace and I'm not stuck in my head anymore. The more I do this, those simple words of guide me, the faster I get in it and the less time I spend in my head flipping out. Now, I'm very grateful for this opportunity the other day where I was struggling with this, because if I hadn't had that, I wouldn't have experienced all of this meditation. I wouldn't have experienced the meditation we're going to do momentarily. And I wouldn't have been able to share all of this with you. So I am very grateful I had that. Guide me is a sign of trust. You're trusting spirit, the divine energy, the life energy, to show you where to go, how to handle those pesky or more troublesome situations in our lives. That's going to help you get back into peace. We can still have crap going on all around us, but that doesn't mean we can't have peace. Okay, I'm going to check what everybody else is saying here. Hi, Barb. Nice to see you. I'm using Guide Me a lot lately. Yes, Denise. Yes, I think this is like the perfect intention. I think it's just perfect. We'll see how long I keep doing it. Diana saying that makes sense. I forgive myself that I can't forgive my daughter's husband for punching her. Yeah, right? My spirit won't allow me to hate him. Ah, awesome. So maybe I'm heading in the right direction. Yes, you are. See? Your soul is stepping up. Your spirit is saying, because it's not you. It is not you to hate. You're a very kind and loving, caring person. I know you are. And you're the kind of person who wants to protect your children, of course, right? Don't we all? And you're the kind of person that recognizes, I know you do, at your heart, that even though he obviously has some issues, that he may not be inherently a bad, in quotes, person. And your soul knows that. So your soul will help you. I don't think you'll have to worry about it, actually, Diane. So let's play with my meditation. So before we get to that, though, if you're just joining me, which you shouldn't have been at this point, but if you are, I'm Colleen van der Zijden, a registered medium at Lilydale. You can connect with me at psychicmediumcolleen.com or psychicmediumcolleen.com, same thing. And on my Facebook page, Colleen van der Zijden, medium and intuitive life coach. And let's see, Lilydale, opening in 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. Check out their page, lilydaleassembly.org. And Lilydale Assembly Incorporated on Facebook is the official page, and you'll find out everything that's happening. So this meditation is the one I did the other day. And today I was writing it out. It's interesting when you try to write it out, because I want to make sure I didn't leave anything out, because it's so easy for me to get in that space so quickly now that I was going, there's so much to say. This is going to be a meditation to help us connect with the peace and the energy of the divine. Okay? You can do this any day, any time. I've been doing it for days, especially when I go to bed at night. And it's really fun to get into this space where I feel that peace, where I feel like I'm safe and protected. And I'm in that spiritually connected place where my soul is in alignment with the divine and I'm trusting. An important part of being in peace is it's a feeling. It's not thinking. Okay, it's not thinking. Okay, so if you're going to go along with me here on this meditation, I suggest you close your eyes. I will give you directions as we go, of course, and I will be sure to bring you back at the end so you don't just drift away. So just close your eyes and just breathe and relax. And just do some really deep breaths and just relax. Okay, and as you're relaxing, your body is getting more and more relaxed. You're starting to release anything that might be in your way. All the tenseness from your body is leaving. Now we're going to do a little bit of a setting for you. You're outside on a perfect night. Just a perfect night. You're in an open field so that you can see forever on the top of a small hill. And while you're there, you're going to sit in a very comfortable chair. So imagine yourself sitting in this very comfortable chair. It's kind of like the chairs you see in the movie theaters, the ones where you can tilt back a little bit or put your feet up, and they're nice and big and comfortable, and you feel nice and safe there. And so as you're sitting in this chair, you're going to lean back a little bit, just right, so that you can look up and see the stars and the sky. As you look up, you notice how perfect the evening is. Pay attention to your body for a minute. Take another deep breath. Your legs are extended in just the right way for you to be relaxed and comfortable. It is the perfect evening. The temperature is absolutely perfect for you. However you want it to be is how it is. The air has just a little bit of a breeze moving, and there are no mosquitoes or little bugs to bother you. And as you relax into that chair, being fully present in the moment, you start to hear the peepers and the crickets and the evening birds, and you close your eyes so you can really listen to it. And it reminds you of the time when you were young and you were playing outside in the evening as it was starting to get dark, and you were just so free and you were so joyous and you could go wherever you wanted and you were perfectly safe. And as you sit in this chair and you listen to the peepers and the crickets, off in the distance you hear the faint sound of a running creek water splashing on the rocks. And as you keep breathing and relaxing further, you become immersed in the sounds. So peaceful, and in this moment, everything is perfect. And as you're immersed in these sounds, feeling so relaxed and comfortable, you're feeling connected to everything around you. You are now a part of this very peaceful setting. And up on that hill in the dark, you open your eyes and you look around and you see that the area is filled with thousands of flashing fireflies just flitting about everywhere. Thousands and thousands of fireflies. It's amazing. It's magical. And as you're looking around and you're thinking, I've never seen anything so beautiful in my life, you look up at the sky and you're looking at the stars. And although the sky is black, there's light within it. And the stars seem extraordinarily bright. And as you're looking at them, you're mesmerized by them, staring and feeling that expansiveness of the universe. It's almost as though you are up in those stars yourself. And you feel safe and content here. And as you continue to look at the lights of the fireflies and the stars in the sky, swirling colors of lights come out of the darkness, just like the northern lights. Lots and lots of beautiful colors start moving about. Beautiful swirls of a background of muted colors, and some bright ones, vibrant and sparkling ones that seem to be dancing right across the sky. The sky is alive with this magical energy. And what you're witnessing is the divine energy in all its magic and glory. And as you're watching this, you're feeling the awe of the beauty. And you're totally in the moment as you're watching the moving energy. The only thing that matters is being in the present, at one with the divine energy. And as you're watching this and starting to feel it, you feel that peace and love beyond anything you've ever experienced before. And just for a moment, breathe into that and feel that peace and love. And now as you're watching those colors, make a note of the colors you see. Just make a note of it. Which one catches your attention? Within all that swirls, there's a color that's catching your attention. Where does your eye go? Follow that color and breathe it in. With your intention, you're going to breathe that color right into your energy field, into your body. And as you're noticing it and really connecting with that color, is it sparkling, dancing, moving, swirling? What does it look like? How does it move? And as you're breathing it in, intending for it to totally be within and around you, you begin to feel a subtle shift in your own energy. That energy is now a part of you, and you are a part of it. You are now in that divine energy with all the magic and glory. And as you're in this energy, you might feel some physical sensations. You might feel tingling in your body. You might feel pressure, as though the air is heavier in certain areas of your body. You might feel movement of the air. You might feel changes or shifts within your body. Just notice what you're feeling. I want you to remember this later. Just notice what you're feeling. And as you watch, you'll see the color swirling and swirling, and your energy is totally merged with the color now. And you feel so peaceful, and keep breathing. With every breath, the color becomes brighter and stronger within your body and within your energy. And keep breathing. And notice how you feel. How are you feeling? You're connecting right now with the truth and knowing. This is who you are at your soul level, as part of the oneness of the divine. And in this space, at your soul level, in this oneness, is you in your divinity, where you are at peace. This peace is always in you. It is always available to you. It is your space and your peace. In this beautiful space, take a moment and ask for guidance. Ask the divine energy, ask your soul, what do I need to know right now? And allow that answer to come to you. No judgment of what comes into your awareness. Allow the answer to just come to you. Sit with this impression for a minute and allow the information to flow to you. And as this information is coming into your awareness, just make a note of it. Make a note of the color you saw. Make a note of how it felt. Make a note of the message you got from your soul or the divine energy. This space is your personal space, and you can come back here at any time. You can come back here to experience the peace and sit in it, to take yourself out of the worries of your day. You can come back here to receive guidance from your divine energy. And with another big breath, claim this space as your own. Claim this peace as your own. And as you continue breathing, we're going to start coming back into this physical space. So just keep breathing. You can come back to this other space at any time you want to. You can expand upon it, make it bigger, make it different, whatever you feel is right for you. But as you start coming back, start feeling your seat underneath you. Maybe feel your feet on the floor. Keep breathing. Feel yourself leaning maybe back on your chair. And keep breathing, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, now y'all back with me? This is a fun meditation because not only does it connect us with the other side of spirit, the other side of the God energy, the part within ourselves, our soul energy, everything that's divine, the oneness, it gets us all that. It gives you some other things to think about. Now, part of the reason I did not tell you a color is because I wanted your own color to come to you. Colors carry different meanings. So if you happen to see green, green tends to be a healing energy. It also goes with the heart chakra, so it is a color of love as well. Pink is also a heart love energy too. Okay, the colors that come in, blue tends to be calm or communication. Orange is creative. There are so many different colors that can come in. Okay, now, if anybody wants to share their message, if it's not, too personal or anything, feel free to write it in the comments. The first time I did this one, the message I got right away was, "We are one." And normally what will happen in a meditation like this is whatever the first message is the one that's most important. You'll notice maybe your inner critic steps in, or you might judge it, or you think you're making it up. You're not making it up. Whatever comes into your head, as long as it feels inspiring, helpful, kind, and loving, it's a legit message. If it comes in fear-based, worries, anything like that, that's not coming in from the divine energy or your soul. Okay, that's coming from someplace else. So you have to be able to distinguish between what is a message from your soul and the divine energy and what is a message from someplace else, a fear-based thing. A message from the divine will always come in kind of as a fact, and it will be a positive. Okay? So Barb saw green. Forgiveness is joy. Green and purple and yellow. Thank you for this. Yes. Yellow is the color that goes with your personal power. Isn't that interesting? And purple, of course, is our spiritual color. So for you, Jan, I like forgiveness is joy. That is so profound, isn't it? So for you, Jan, the green would be like the healing, loving, spiritual energy in your power. Whoa, isn't that cool? That's really cool. Ashley, speak and then leap with the colors blue and green. And blue goes with the throat chakra, the communication, and the green, of course, is again the healing and the love with it. Denise, be happy. Orange sparkles. Orange is creativity, and sparkles, I love sparkles. And orange, with the sparkles in it, that actually leads me to believe that you might be very creative yourself and that your light comes through in your creativity. It looks like I'm kind of giving you little messages here, doesn't it? Tingling in the right side of my brain over and over again during the meditation. Ooh, how interesting. You may be shifting the energy in your head, Barb. Yeah, that's cool. Purple, spiritual. You can always be happy anytime. Nothing will ever be perfect. Don't be so hard on yourself. That's a great message, Candace. That's a really wonderful. And with that, you can always be happy. You can always choose peace. You can always be yourself. Many of us are perfectionists and recovering perfectionists, I like to call myself. So many of us are like that. And it's very hard for us sometimes to let go of, I've got to get this exactly right. And don't be so hard on yourself is a perfect message. So that's a fun little meditation, isn't it? It really is. And that's something that you can expand on, like I said. As I was doing it last night, that's when I was in the movie chair last night. I was like, oh, this is a perfect chair because it's nice, big and comfortable, and you can be outside and you can see everything there. Baba Yaga, be kind, be respectful, and it will all come together. I've been a little judgy lately and conscious of it, but I'm trying. You know what? And that's beautiful because you're being aware, you're being honest, you're living your integrity, you're willing to admit you're a little judgy lately, and we've all been there and we all do that. So join the club. And trying is so important, being willing to try and being willing to make a change, because we do kind of get stuck in our heads, right? All of these things that we're talking about here, everything that you're telling me that you've experienced during this meditation, everything, all of this is a step on your path to have more and more peace in your life. And that's what we want, the more peace, because within the peace is the joy. And she's saying, I saw a beautiful blue green. Yes. Now, the colors. Let me just mention the colors and then I'll wrap up. How long have I gone? Not too far, considering. So the colors, you can Google them to get more information on them. But if there's a color that really grabs you, I did this with one of my coaching clients the other day. We were talking about a certain color and what colors I thought felt right for her. If there's a certain color you really like, and you see it in your head and you come across something that has that color, you may want to buy it, even if it's like, a little piece of material at the store or a little felt square or something that they use for crafting. You may want to have something like that, or try to make the color yourselves if you have some paints or something that you could mix to get that color. There is a vibration within color, and it does help us on our path as we do things. So you might want to get something like that just to keep you in that flow if you like, or just work with it in your head as you want. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that meditation and my show this evening, helping you with forgiveness and being spiritually connected. Feel free to use my guide to me as much as you want, and make sure you claim your peace. You deserve it, and it is yours already, and it's already within you. That's amazing dancing. That's amazing. That's what I saw because my business has the word creations in it. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I tell you, spirit and the divine energy they know exactly what needs to happen. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I'm glad that was relaxing. I am loved. Yes, Ray, you are loved very much. Oh, thank you, Danette. I appreciate your kind comment there. I take no credit. I go with spirit. Whatever spirit shows me is what I talk about and what I do. I've learned a lot that way. You guys can do it too. It's fun. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. You can connect with me, ColleenVanderzuyden.com. Medium, Colleen Vanderzuyden, Medium Intuitive Life Coach on Facebook, lilydelassembly.org. I will not be doing a show next week because I will be traveling, but I will do one the following week, and that will be the last one before summer season starts. So I don't know that I will do any during the summer. I'll just have to see how it goes. I remember last year it got a little overwhelming, so we'll see how it goes. And if you are planning to come to Lilydale, get a reading with any of the mediums here, you do want to make your appointment in advance. I have many days now where I am totally booked. You can book appointments on my website, and several other mediums do the same thing. You can book them right there. So find your favorite medium, make your appointment now so you can get in. You guys have a great night, and peace be with you. Yes, that's a great ending for this week. Peace be with you all. You guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.